A two-day Ashes test match. The first two-day Ashes test match since 1890. Australia won, but not through lack of trying to lose. I feel like both teams tried to lose this test match about 5 different times, even though it only went for 2 days. England started off the test match saying, we'll lose this test, and then Australia said, no, we'll lose this test. And then England, during their second innings batting, said, no, we insist. We're gentlemen. We'll give you this test. You can take the first one. We'll take the next one. A little bit Phil Hellmuth. I'll take this one. You take the next one. What a crazy start to the Ashes. And if this is what the rest of the Ashes is going to look like, I think we're going to have to strap in because the rest of the series is going to go like that. My name's James. Welcome to my channel. And this is my breakdown of how both teams forgot to bat, how strategy broke down, and how one innings changed everything. All right, let's go into the analysis. And we've got to start with day one. Day one was a day of two halves. It was really one of the craziest, if not the craziest starts to a test match, let alone an Ashes test match, let alone the first game of a test match I've ever seen. For England to get bowled out for 172 inside 2 sessions and Mitch Starc to pick up career best figures of 7 for 58 and Australia to still end the day looking like they're going to lose, I don't know how that's even possible. Has a crazier first day ever happened in a test match before? Tell me down in the comments because I'm genuinely interested. Even though Australia ended the first day of the test match looking like they're going to lose, I think the first day still belonged to Mitchell Starc. And I think it's because of the responsibility that was on the guy's shoulders. Pat Cummins, Australia's captain, was out with a back injury, and Josh Hazlewood, Australia's other strike bowler, was out with a calf strain. Because of that and the fact that the Ashes were starting in Perth, where it's a lot bouncier and a lot quicker as well, a lot of the responsibility of the fast bowling especially was going to fall to Mitchell Starc. He's played 100 test matches. He's, I would say, the 3rd best fast bowler in Australia's test lineup. But with Cummins and Hazlewood out, he was going to have to really step up. And boy, did he step up. 7 for 58, career best figures. He bowled better than I've ever seen him bowl in a test match before. He made it hard for England to score, which is something I don't always say about Mitch Starc in red ball, but he rolled England for 172 inside 32 overs. England's last 5 wickets fell for 12 runs. Harry Brook, I thought, batted pretty well for England. He made a well-made 50, but he was really the lone hand in an England innings that threw their wickets away, which was really giving a bit of foreshadowing as to what was to come. And so going into Australia's first innings at the end of day one, I was rubbing my hands together, licking my lips, thinking, okay, Australia's going to put on probably about 300, maybe 350, maybe 400, and just grind England down into the ground and end the first innings with a massive lead. And I could not have been more wrong. Australia had a collapse as well, and it was even worse than England's. Australia ends the day 9 wickets down, 49 runs behind England. And I think that's credit to England's bowlers. England's bowlers bowled pretty damn rapid. I think the stat was something like England's average pace was about 141 or 142 clicks for the first innings, which is unbelievably fast as a bowling unit. They bowled in pairs and they just hit a really good line and length too, consistently throughout the first day. So you end day one thinking both teams can really only bat better than they did on the first day. Like both teams can't bat worse. And that turned out to be half true. Australia definitely couldn't bat any worse, but it turns out England could, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So we start out day one, and I think we can basically just skip ahead to the lunch session. England get to lunch absolutely cruising at 1 for 65. You've got Ollie Pope and Ben Duckett there at the crease, and they're effectively 1 for 105, being 40 runs ahead. And at that point, you're thinking it's going to be pretty hard for Australia to claw their way back into this test match, given how behind they are and how tough this wicket seems to bat on. And after that, England suffered one of the worst batting collapses you'll ever see in a test match. From 1 for 65, they lost their last 9 wickets for 99 runs. And I think you've got to ask the reason why. Why did England collapse so badly? I think the first reason is that England don't really seem to be able to change gears in their batting during a test match. It's either score quick or die trying. And I think it's all well and good to play Bazball. Sometimes the situation calls for it. When it's the last session of a day, you want to score 100 quick runs before sending the other team in for the last 20 minutes or 30 minutes of the session. Then go for it. Bazball all you like. But when you start losing wickets and playing rash shots, sometimes you need to think more strategically and calibrate your game based on what the scenario of the game is, which I don't think England was able to do. The number 2 reason I think England's second innings fell apart was because of Scott Boland finding his line during the second innings. The first innings, I thought he was much too straight, and that allowed England to clip him through mid-wicket or even just drive him back down the ground. Second innings went back to the Scott Boland of old, the metronome Scott Boland, just bowling that consistent 4th or 5th stump line, a bit short of a length, and basically just tried to feed into England's egos. I think point 1 and 2 here are really related. Scott Boland was able to realise England aren't able to put shots back in the locker even when the situation calls for it. So if I hang the ball outside off stump, with Perth's bouncier wickets and quicker wickets as well, it's going to make it much harder to score and not nick the ball, which is what you saw England's batsmen do. And that leads into the third point, which is England's poor shot selection. You see Ollie Pope, Harry Brook and Joe Root get out all pretty much the same way. And 2 of them I can forgive, 1 I cannot forgive. Ollie Pope I can forgive. He was trying to move the game along. The ball wasn't really there to drive, or wasn't there to drive, but he was committed to the shot. Say what you will about him, but he was trying to bone that ball through the covers. He threw the kitchen sink at it, so he's committed at least. He nicked off, so be it. Harry Brook I can forgive as well. Harry Brook, he's not new. He's played 30 test matches, but he's still in his early 20s. He's got a lot to learn still. It was a soft dismiss. It was a nothing shot outside off. I don't know if he was really trying to hit the ball to the boundary, but he can learn from that. The player I can't forgive is Joe Root. This is a bloke who's played 159 test matches. He's just watched 3 of his teammates walk back to the sheds inside 10 minutes. If you look at the way he got out, he chopped on off Starc. His bat's at 45 degrees, that he's reaching outside of his body. The ball's so far away from a half volley and so far away from the stumps as well. He did not need to play it. And surely at that point in the innings, you think, I'm going to shelve some shots here because I'm going to try and leave the ball as much as I can. I'm going to try and just weather the storm and get us back into this test match. I speak in hyperbole all the time, but I don't think I'm speaking in hyperbole when I say, given the situation and given the player, that is the most undisciplined shot I've ever seen in a test match in my life. You've got to realise this bloke has hit the 2nd most runs in test cricket history. He's played 159 test matches. For 5 days, 160, 320, 640, 800, minus 5, 795, 795 days of cricket he's played. That's almost 2.5 years of consecutive cricket in a row. Played over 15 years. He should know so much better, given the amount of experience Joe Root has and the context of the game. That shot is horrific. And I haven't seen anyone blasting Joe Root, but he really needs to be, because that shot was horrendous. I think the thing is, if you're to learn anything from England's second innings, it's that Bazball needs gears. It shouldn't just be an on-off switch. You can still ramp up Bazball based on the scenario of the game, based on the situation you find yourself in, but you should be able to just change the gears slightly. But England doesn't seem to do that yet. Will they learn during the rest of the series? We'll find out. But at this point in time, I've got no evidence to say that England has been able to learn from past experiences. And you can't really even say that England were outplayed either. Yes, Scott Boland, yes, Doggett and Mitch Starc all bowled well during the second innings, but England, I would say, more self-destructed than were actually outclassed. If you're an Englishman, you would take heed in that at least and think, we can learn from that. And I hope they do. Otherwise, it's just going to be a super quick series. A bit of a shame as an Englishman if they just keep on playing the exact same way, getting out the same way and not learning from it, and then just sticking their head in the sand in post-match press conferences saying, no, if anything, we've just got to overcommit to it. I think you've just got to look at the tapes, look at the stats and think, okay, there's one way to play, but there's also more than one way to skin a cat as well. So England end their second innings 205 runs ahead. And at that stage, you genuinely don't know what the hell's going to happen. Will England bowl Australia out for another 150 and win by 50 runs? Or will Australia be able to sneak over the line? No one knew at that point. It's worth noting as well, Usman Khawaja didn't open the batting in Australia's second innings. Jake Weatherald walked out with Travis Head. You think that can either go one of two ways. Either Head makes a quick 10 and gets out, or he bones them to all ends of the ground like he did in the 23 World Cup final, like he did in the World Test Championship final, and that's exactly what happened. In my wildest dreams, I would have thought Travis Head wins us the game early on day 3. It wasn't even in the realms of possibility for me to think that he could win it inside 2 days, but that's exactly what he did. He hit 123 off 89 balls, the second fastest century in 148 years of Ashes cricket. That shows you what an incredible innings it was. And given the context of the game as well, no other player was able to bat on that surface. I don't think it was a surface problem necessarily, but no other player was able to bat the way Travis Head was. And it wasn't slogging, it was just controlled aggression. Seems funny to say, but I think he batted within himself a little bit and didn't play any balls that in a way that wasn't really there to be played. He was just seeing the ball like an absolute beach ball. At one point he hits Ben Stokes for 4 fours in an over, and it was 4 balls in a row. He hooked Jofra Archer for 6 over his head. He backed away and from outside leg cut Mark Wood for 4. So maybe he did play some shots that weren't there to be played, but when you're seeing the ball that well, I think you can just go for it. I think only Travis Head can make a tricky 4th innings chase look like he's playing backyard cricket and make it look like he's just entered the Matrix. He's just Neo who's suddenly discovered how to move in slow-mo, catch bullets, fight Mr. Anderson. None of England's bowlers had a clue on how to get Travis Head out. You hear Ben Stokes say they tried 5 different plans of short pitch bowling maybe. You just completely wasted the new ball. They didn't pitch one ball up to Travis Head. They just tried to bounce him from ball 1. It's a new ball, you want to pitch it up. And history shows the wickets in the test match were pretty much predominantly all pitched up. I think England really missed a trick there. So Australia get England's runs 2 down. Trav Head batted amazingly, obviously. Marnus Labuschagne also made 52 not out and just guided Australia to victory. He hit a runner ball 52 too. So Australia win the test match. Mitch Starc gets man of the match. And what's crazy is that if I'm putting myself in Mitchell Starc's shoes, I just got career best figures in the first innings, 7 for 58. I picked up 3 in the second innings to get a 10 for the match. If I was collecting the man of the match award after Travis Head's innings, I'd feel a little bit sheepish. Isn't that nuts to say? Mitch Starc should have been walking around like he's Conor McGregor before a UFC fight. Instead, I'd have my tail between my legs a little bit collecting the man of the match awards. That's how good Travis Head's innings was. It's not anything against Mitch Starc winning it, obviously, but because he definitely deserved to win it. But Travis Head's innings was that spectacular that it does make you question, should Travis Head have won the man of the match award? So I think the post-match questions that need to be asked are threefold. Number 1, should Khawaja open the batting in the second test match at the Gabba? I'm asking the question, but I'm also not the only person asking the question. Travis Head batted that bloody well at the top of the innings. I hesitate to bring him back down to 5. And especially when you hear Travis Head talking about how he likes opening and he wanted to open as well. Usman Khawaja is 38, I think. He's turning 39 during the summer. And also, I hate to say it, but I question Uzi's commitment as well. You heard during the test match that on the Tuesday and Wednesday before the test match started on the Friday, Usman trained with the team and then played 18 holes on the Tuesday after training and the Wednesday after training as well. The Thursday, he skips training to play another round of 18 holes. The training was optional. And then on Friday, his back spasms when he's in the field. And we're supposed to believe it had nothing at all to do with the amount of golf the bloke has played. He's spending more time on the green than bloody Tiger Woods. And we're supposed to believe that it was just a coincidence that his back spasmed. He could barely walk during England's second innings. He went up for a catch at first slip. He couldn't get 20 centimetres off the ground. So I don't like calling into question his commitment to the team, but I think it has to be called into question. And because Travis Head just batted so well, and because I want to see Bo Webster in the team. So Usman out of the team could mean Head opens, Green probably goes down to 5, and then Bo Webster comes back into the team at 6 and gives us some handy overs as well. Should that happen? Should Usman still play for the second test? Let me know down in the comments. Question number 2, which I've touched on already, can England bat differently? I think we've learned from this test that England need gears. You can't just baz ball all the time, every time, and hope for a better result, because sometimes the game doesn't call for it. You've got to be able to change gears and calibrate how you're batting based on the situation. Will England be able to do that? That's anyone's guess. Let me know down in the comments as well. And number 3, the Jamie Smith controversy. Not many people are talking about this after the game, which I can see why, because did it really change the course of the game? No, but I think the question still needs to be asked. So Jamie Smith got choked down the leg side and it gets sent up for a review, and we see Jamie Smith get given out, even though the visuals don't seem to be matching the Snicko technology as well. So the question becomes, if the visuals aren't matching the real-time Snicko, which is the source of truth? All I hope is that we're consistent, and if we adjudicate it the same way going forward in the series, I won't be mad, but I just hope it is consistent for the sake of the viewers and the players as well. The precedent's been set with Jamie Smith's dismissal. I just hope it's the same throughout the series if that happens again. I think the final question that could be asked as well is, where does Travis Head's innings rank in the all-time best Ashes innings? I've had a bit of a think afterwards, which I could afford to because the test only went for 2 days, but I don't think it quite cracks the top 3. I don't know exactly where it falls. I'd need to think a bit more about it, but for me, I think the 3 best Ashes innings of all time is Ben Stokes, obviously, 2019 at Headingley, single-handedly won England the game from an almost unwinnable position. That's maybe the best innings I've ever seen. Number 2, I would say, is Ian Botham's innings, also at Headingley in 1981. His 149 not out in the second innings was absolutely unbelievable. You know, Australia made 400 odd, I think, in the first innings and declared. England bat in the second innings and they get rolled for 174. They don't even avoid the follow-on. Ian Botham makes 50 in that innings after getting a 6-for in Australia's first innings batting. England gets sent out to bat again. Botham is the lone hand again. After making the only 50 in the first innings, he makes 149 not out off 148 rocks. Cheers. He gets England ahead by, I don't even know how much, but it's defendable at least. And then we all know what happened next. Bob Willis got a very quick 8 for Botham, took another 1, and England won an even more unwinnable test match than I'd say Ben Stokes was. So maybe I need to change my order, I'm thinking now. The third one is Ricky Ponting's innings at Old Trafford in 2005. Single-handedly saved Australia in that test match, made 156, I think, and saved the draw and kept the series alive going into the 5th and final test. Does Travis Head's innings crack those? I don't think so. But it was so magnificent that the question does need to be asked. I'll have a think about where I think it ranks, and this is what I love, is actually talking about lists and ranking things. Let me know down in the comments where you think Travis Head's innings ranks in the all-time best Ashes innings, because I'll be very interested. So that's my replay of the first test. Will the rest of the series go like this first test? I hope not, because I want to see more cricket being played, but if it does, we're in for a hell of a series, and a hell of an exciting series too. Bring on the second test. I'll see you down in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe as well, because I'm wanting to do more videos like this. Cheers.